2 tickets to see your Padres take a beating from the Yanks tonight.
The mob forgives murder, but not humiliation. Few Sopranos moments inspire as much feverish speculation as Vito Spatafori's invitation to Finn to join him at a Yankees game.
You know you can call me Vito.
Yeah, I know.
On the surface, it looked like an awkward bonding attempt between Meadows' boyfriend and one of Tony's captains. In practice, it remains one of the most tantalizing what might have been threads of the entire series. Because let's be honest, had Finn actually gone, there were only 2 likely outcomes.
He had Finn all freaked out. He still does.
Why didn't you say something?
He would have been bribed into silence or threatened into it. And knowing Vito, possibly both, with a side of deeply uncomfortable knee-grabbing. The theories abound.
Third baseline.
Some argue Vito's plan was to keep things light, plying Finn with hot dogs and ballpark camaraderie before slipping in a not-so-subtle warning.
You're fucking going.
The classic mobster carrot and stick routine. Look, kid, I like you.
And he saw Vito in a car going down on some security guard.
But if a certain story about a certain security guard were to make the rounds, well, accidents happen at construction sites. Cue the hand on the knee, equal parts intimidation and unsettling intimacy, followed by a generous offer of a new air conditioner for Meadows' apartment. It's coercion dressed up as kindness. A tactic abusers use precisely because it confuses the victim into complicity. Others are convinced Vito had no intention of threatening Finn outright.
Maybe he was a homo, felt there was no one he could talk to about it.
They point to his later comments to Janice about homosexual men having no one to confide in, reading the stadium invite as a clumsy attempt at companionship. This is the softer interpretation. Vito was lonely, desperate for connection, and Finn, quiet, naive, conveniently bound to Tony through Meadow, presented a rare opportunity to test the waters. He may have hoped that shared beers at Yankee Stadium could evolve into something more coded, a tentative probe into whether Finn might be open to Vito's affections.
You love baseball.
Baseball as courtship ritual. Romance by way of stadium seating. Of course, the more cynical reading insists Vito was setting a trap. Not to kill Finn immediately, murdering Meadows' live-in boyfriend would be suicidal, but to groom him into silence, through a mixture of veiled threats and transactional favors. The mobster handbook is clear. Bribe first, menace second, kill only when cornered.
And Dad got him that job in construction.
Finn was too well connected to Tony for Vito to act rashly. More likely, the plan was to slowly draw him into complicity, make him an ally, or at least someone too compromised to speak.
If you were laying a bet.
Finn, however, was never savvy enough to realize the leverage he held. He could have bled Vito dry, demanded loans, even insinuated Tony's protection as an insurance policy.
He came on to me, all right? Either that or he wants to kill me.
Instead, he folded under pressure, whispered to Meadow,
You gotta hear what Meadow just told.
and let Carmela blurt the secret straight to Tony. In the end, Finn was less mob whistleblower than hapless pawn.
Vito was spotted in a fag bar in New York.
The heart of the matter lies in Vito's psychology. He was a man trapped by his own repression, simultaneously terrified of exposure and desperate for intimacy. The game invitation was less about baseball than about control, testing Finn's pliability, seeking reassurance, and maybe, just maybe, indulging the fantasy that he had found someone who wouldn't recoil.
Why didn't you say something?
The tragic irony is that Vito likely would have been satisfied with little more than Finn's silence and the illusion of trust.
So you're just not gonna show up?
But once Finn skipped the game, that door slammed shut. Vito knew then that silence could not be bought with peanuts and Cracker Jacks. It would take intimidation. And even that, he must have realized, would fail in the long run.
He was in a fag bar.
What makes the episode so effective is the way the show frames mob morality against sexual taboo. When the crew first hears about Vito's dalliance with the security guard, their discomfort is muted. They assume he was on the receiving end, and the reaction is little more than an awkward shrug.
Vito was blowing the security guard.
But when it's revealed that he was the one performing the act, the atmosphere shifts instantly from uneasy to homicidal. The hypocrisy is staggering. Violence, murder, extortion, all permissible occupational hazards. But the notion of a captain as the active partner in gay sex? An instant death sentence. The line is drawn not at sexuality, but at perceived humiliation.
Catching, not pitching.
Vito's fate is sealed not because he was gay, but because he embodied the wrong role in the act. This is where Finn's role becomes fascinating. His silence, or lack thereof, wouldn't have saved Vito in the end. Even if Finn had never said a word, the gossip mill of Newark would have eventually spun its way back to Phil Leotardo, who needed no excuse to eliminate him. The Yankee game, then, becomes less about whether Finn would have lived or died, and more about whether Vito might have prolonged his own survival by securing Finn's complicity. A friendly outing, a whispered warning, maybe an envelope of cash. These were survival tactics. Not foolproof, but better than standing alone in a gay bar in leather chaps. And yet, there's an oddly tragic reading of the scene. Strip away the innuendo, the intimidation, the potential coercion, and one is left with a man who simply wanted someone to sit next to him at a ball game. When Vito is shown later waiting outside Yankee Stadium, visibly dejected that Finn never arrived, the moment rings with something more than menace. It's loneliness. Isolation. The desperation of a man who sees no way out, who craves companionship, but knows that his very existence is unsustainable in the world he inhabits. In that sense, the stadium invitation is both sinister and heartbreakingly human. A predator's trap, yes, but also a cry for connection. So what would have happened if Finn had gone? The safest prediction is a careful blend of menace and bribery, cloaked in the language of friendship. Vito would have dangled favors, hinted at threats, maybe even tested Finn with a clumsy advance.
That's really nice.
Hey, give me that shit.
Finn, rattled and unworldly, would have stumbled through the night, half terrified, half flattered, fully unsure of how to respond. Perhaps he would have walked away with a pocket full of cash and a gut full of dread.
He's not gonna know I told you?
You ain't gonna have no problem from Vito.
Perhaps he would have felt the faint stirrings of blackmail leverage he would never actually use. What he would not have walked away with was a corpse tag. Vito was reckless, but not suicidal. Killing Finn at a ball game was never in the cards. Ultimately, the Yankee game is a microcosm of the Sopranos' brilliance. A single, ambiguous gesture that can be read as threat, bribe, seduction, or plea. It encapsulates the show's fascination with blurred lines between violence and intimacy, loyalty and betrayal, secrecy and survival. David Chase, ever the sadist, leaves us with the ambiguity. And 20 years later, viewers still argue about it, like obsessive seminarians parsing scripture.
Because Vito warned Finn not to.
Did Vito want Finn dead? Did he want him silent? Did he want him, period? The answer, maddeningly and perfectly, is yes. All of the above. Because with Vito Spatafor, as with The Sopranos itself, the pitch and the catch were always entangled. Finn skipped the game. Don't skip this channel. Subscribe.